Hello, friends. It's January 2024, and this is a market update, which I give to you mostly once a month for the most part. And this one is important because January signals a lot of things, signals a lot of change in the real estate market here in Denver and nationally. And I want to talk about those things and really look at the data from a very basic perspective and just give a general idea of what that's going to do this year. So, market update. This is just me talking to the webcam. No fancy editing on these. Talking to the webcam, going through the data, figuring it out with you. So, two things. First of all, not this one. This one, mortgage rates. If you've been paying attention the last 6-7 weeks, you may know. Mortgage rates dropped considerably to the point where I got Housing Wire's data pulled up right here. They are the 30-year conforming, it says right now, as of January 3rd, is 6.651%. That is in the ballpark. The rate you're going to be quoted is probably going to be a little higher than that because it depends on a number of things. And sometimes these sites show, the most optimistic rate you can get if everything's perfect. But 6.65 to 6.8 is a realistic expectation for a 30-year fixed right now. That is a big freaking deal if you've watched it all the last year, because I'm going to go down to the graph here. This is over the last 3 months what mortgage rates have done. So if you look right now, the dark blue line is the 30-year conforming. We also have the jumbo, which shot up all of a sudden above 7%. Who knows what's going on there? But let's see. Let's turn that off. And I just have 30-year conforming in FHA. You see how far it's come down since October, where it was, high 7.8%, and really 8% in a lot of places, in a lot of scenarios. We're now below 7%. Big difference. We talked about the difference in monthly payment going from 3% to 8%. That's thousands of dollars for most people. Going from 8% to under 7% is definitely hundreds of dollars. That makes a significant impact. So what does this do? Obviously, this is going to bring more buyers out. This is going to improve people's buying power and make the real estate market more accessible to most buyers. Just this change here. If rates fall even more, what's going to happen? It's going to happen even more. It's going to be even more amplified. I told you guys for a long time, do not wait to buy until rates get into the mid fives, whenever that's going to happen, because it's going to be a bloodbath. Everybody else is out there looking for houses. Everybody else is in. If you can't all afford to or need to or whatever your life situation, but it can afford to buy now, want to buy now, need to buy now, it makes more sense to do that than to wait till rates drop, because when rates drop, you still get the benefit of that better rate with the refinance, and you won't have all the competition, and chances are home prices will be lower. So that's what's going on there. Whether or not that rate changes, more buyer activity is going to come out. Things are going to get stronger this spring, and basically people are starting to get used to the higher interest rates more. We have found, looking at the data, the consumer is more sensitive to changes in rates than they are the rate itself. So when rates went from 3% to 6.5%, 7%, that made a big impact on people's sentiment and willingness to buy a home. But when they went from 8% to somewhere below 7%, it's going to have a much different impact, and more of an impact than the rate itself. So people are starting to get used to rates being higher and understand that they're not going back to 3% ever, probably, definitely anytime soon. And so the changes in the rates are what's going to cause most of the buyer activity or lack of activity more than the rate itself. So I'm not centered for some reason. I don't know. I got to fix this. But the next thing I want to look at right here is some super easy, super raw data from the MLS. I usually use Megan Eller's data. Their system's down. Get well soon, Megan's system, because I never realized how much I relied on it before, but clearly I do quite a bit. Instead, I will give you this comically simple graph directly from our MLS RE Colorado here. This is active inventory on the market. So you're seeing what's happened basically. Inventory peaking in September, October, coming down quite a bit until now, January. Obviously, the lower the inventory, the more competition there will be. Simple supply and demand. If we look at the raw data, so right now, inventory's almost 15,000, 14,000, 843. I can read. That number doesn't matter. It only matters how it relates to these others. So inventory kind of peaked last year in August, September, October. So right around 23,000 active units. In terms of months of supply, that was about 3.5 to 4 months of supply, still below the 6 months of supply that we would need for a balanced market, a market that's neither buyers or sellers market. So that inventory right there, still a seller's market, a less strong seller's market than we've had since, most of basically 2020, 2021 were outliers. Early 2022 was an outlier. They were extreme seller's market. This sort of number we're looking at is a more moderate seller's market and a much more normal market in Denver real estate. We typically don't have a balanced market. It's usually seller friendly on the whole. But you see what happened. It kind of peaked and then it came down. October was still up at 23,000, down in November significantly, way down in December, and then way down here to start January. What happened in December and January? People start pulling their houses off the market. Especially a lot of listings will naturally expire December 31st at the end of the year. That's just how the contracts are written. And then a lot of the time people are saying, I'm going to pull my home off the market for the holidays. I don't want to deal with it. It's not selling anyway. Let's get it off. Let's put it back on in the spring. So you'll see, we're going to look at what that looks like. But basically you'll see the 14 and change here, that's lower than the inventory in January last year. Now, January, we had the full January of data. So it's tough to know where January started last year, but still currently this is lower than the number for January last year. And then you see it compressed a little bit in February. In March, it started to go up. April started to go up, but still very low. And then May and June is when it starts to kind of plateau into July. And so what's happening there is in February, March, April, a lot of homes are going on the market. But should I go back to the chart? Is this more fun to look at? In February, March, April right here, a lot of homes are going on the market, but a lot of people are buying houses too. And so the inventory isn't rising so much because those homes are going on the market and people are buying them quickly. And that's what creates a strong real estate market. So what does this all mean, Sam? Here, January 2024, year of our Lord. What should we be doing? What does this mean? Well, if you're a buyer, basically, I'm going to say now is the time before things get crazy in March, April, May. Now is the time to get out there and look and see if you can scoop something up in January where interest rates are better. Maybe not as good as they're going to get. You'll still get the opportunity to refi, but they are better. And all the buyers haven't come out yet because it's not February, March, which is when that really starts to happen. So I always say go now. But honestly, this has to be obviously if you want to buy, it's either go now or go later. Go right now. Get out there. Start looking in January, these next 2 weeks, or go July, August, September. That's when things are going to start to slow down. July, August is kind of the sweet spot where there's still inventory on the market, but not as many buyers are out. And then as we get later in the year, inventory, as you've seen, starts to decline and there's fewer things to choose from until we get to the new year when this cycle will repeat itself over again. If you are a seller, it's go right now or go next year. Obviously, if you're selling your home, there's probably a reason to sell your home. So that's going to be the main thing, to focus on what life event is causing this and build your plan around that. If you got to sell in September, we'll sell in September. Whatever, we'll figure it out. But for the purpose of this video, when people are talking about what's the best case scenario, if I'm trying to time this, even though timing the market's difficult, but if I'm going to sell and I'm just saying, when should I sell based on the best market conditions? You need to start getting it listed right now in order to hit that March sweet spot to be on the market. You need to start getting staging together, your agreements drawn up, photography, any sort of little house projects you need to do, all that stuff. There needs to be time for you to get that together to go and hit that sweet spot of the market. I've got a couple people who are going to sell or thinking about selling, and I literally checked in with the handful of them yesterday just to say, I don't push, by the way. If you guys have worked with me, you know I'm not a pushy person. I will be on top of things and tell you what you need to know when you need to know it, but I don't say, let's go, you should do this. I give you the data and let you make the decision. But this is one of those times where I get borderline, not pushy, but borderline, hey, if you want to do this, we got to do this now because I know that's the best scenario that's going to net you the most money. That's it, guys. If you have any questions, please do reach out. As always, you know I love chatting with you, and this is my job. So I love helping people with real estate transactions, even if it's just a real estate conversation in the Denver metro or all of Colorado beyond. I've been some crazy places lately, and it's been awesome. Love you. See you soon. Happy New Year.